Hey there, you're listening to Becoming More Me, the podcast for high achieving entrepreneurs and professionals who want to be more and do less. I'm your host, Teresa Lear-Levine. I'm an EFT master practitioner, hypnotherapist, mom of 4 boys, and lover of the law of attraction and the realm of possibility. In this episode today, we're going to talk about elevating your business strategy for 2025 in a bit of an unconventional way. And we're going to do this by first, I'm going to share with you this kind of crappy day that I had yesterday on the very first day of 2025, and going to share some super relatable things that I think you may also experience from time to time also. And these are also going to be exactly the kind of things that I am going to be helping you with on a live workshop that I am doing on January 10th, which is going to be the day after this episode airs. And if you're not already registered, the workshop's going to happen at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And whether you can make it live or not, in fact, even if you've listened to this and it's after January 10th, you can still hit me up and I'll be happy to find a way to get you the replay. But if you want to try to attend live, you're going to go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop. And you'll be able to register there for free. I'm going to be doing live Q&A, live coaching, and we're going to be doing some great EFT tapping to address some of this stuff too, and really help you to get out of your own way with regards to elevating your business in 2025. So this workshop is all about subconscious synergy. We're going to be uncovering the blocks that are actually holding you back from success. I know many of you work already with maybe a business coach, or perhaps you're going through courses or programs that are helping you to grow your business, or to become a coach, or to transition from one career to another. And yet you also are finding yourself stuck, or not implementing, or not feeling like you're getting the momentum going or getting the results that you want. And generally, that is not because the coaches, courses, programs that you've invested in are bad. It's usually because you have these subconscious or body blocks that are preventing you from implementing. So you may notice that you go to do something to improve upon your situation, and all of a sudden you are super tired, like you need to go take a nap. Or maybe you start having these different emotions coming up, or you find that time is just somehow never on your side. Like you feel like you're never going to have the time to do X, Y, or Z, and you're having a really hard time managing, rearranging, or creating the space to make it happen. There can be all of these different things that come up when you try to implement. And those are the kind of things we're going to be looking at so that we can figure out what is really going on for you. Because if you're not getting your desired results, and you know what you need to do, why it matters, and yet you're still having these distractions that prevent you from taking action, or you're having that fatigue when you go to do those things that you absolutely know, if you do these, your life is going to change for the better. Your business is going to improve. And yet every time you go to do it, you lose the energy, or you suddenly feel unmotivated, or self-doubt strikes you. Perhaps you're also stuck in perfectionism, fear of what other people might think as you take these actions. So then you start things, but you don't finish them. You don't ever complete or release the things that are going to make the change to the world at all, because there's this underlying fear, self-doubt, and need for it to be perfect, even though I would challenge you, do you even know what that looks like? Would you know perfect if it hit you? And perfect doesn't exist. So, it's an interesting question, but it's not lack of motivation, okay? It's not lack of ability for the majority of us. It is something deeper. It is these habits, these fears, these automatic patterns that hold you back from making your efforts manifest what you want. they make you feel like your efforts, your investments, your time are all wasted. It's emotional. It's not something that you can reason your way out of, and that's what a lot of people try to do. We try to intellectualize this instead of feeling it and moving it, understanding it and meeting it. And all of that is happening subconsciously. So those invisible patterns are preventing you from showing up the way you want to in your life and business. They're leaving you feeling overwhelmed, stuck, and like you're not enough. And they're stopping you from getting the results that you know are possible because you probably see other people getting them. So other people have already shown you that what you want exists, and you're not able to take the action to make it exist for you. That is deep stuff that no business program, course, or coach is likely going to be addressing for you. So it's also what makes people think, I'm doing all these things, quote, air quotes, because you're not actually doing the things. You're hiring the coach or buying the program or buying the course, but not doing what it tells you to do because these patterns are keeping you stuck. So this workshop, Subconscious Synergy, Elevate Your Business Strategy for 2025, is going to walk through the whys, the hows, what to do, everything else, and really get you some shifts on the spot in the workshop. So again, go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop if you want to register for that or even get the replay. It's going to be amazing. And I have found that whenever I step into doing a workshop, planning a program, starting something in my life or business, my life tends to hit me with all the things that I'm helping people with. And I really do actually appreciate that quite a bit because I think it's there to teach me, help me, allow me to help others by showing me that this all still very much exists in me. And that's cool. That's cool. So anyway, I decided this morning, I'm going to come on, I'm going to record this episode. You always know it's going to be like a vulnerable episode when I show up makeup free in my workout clothes. And I'm like, I am just going to do this thing because I need to share this. So for those of you that watch the YouTube, you're seeing it. For those of you listening to the audio, this is like a gray hoodie, black t-shirt, just finished a double workout, and I'm feeling like, gosh, I need to share this. Because yesterday was a day that I went through pretty much all of the emotions and really felt low. And I know that happens for a lot of you too. So let me set this up a little bit. Because again, I'm recording this on January 2nd. You're probably hearing it around January 9th. Workshop's on the 10th. And yesterday was the first of the year. So love-hate relationship with New Year's, definitely. I definitely do not believe that there's like this whole new year, new you thing. Nothing really changes between when you go to sleep on the 31st or early on the morning of the 1st, as many of us stay up after midnight, and when you wake up the next day. You're still the same person. You still have the same habits, the same subconscious patterns, the same nervous system reactions. If you were living in fight or flight on the 31st, you're probably still there on the 1st. If you have worked on stuff going on in your subconscious, you still have it on the 1st. Nothing really changes, but we can create goals, ideas, possibilities for ourselves, and then we have to figure out how to execute on them. So we are not usually big New Year's Eve people. Have 4 boys. Some of them like to stay up until midnight. Some of them don't. There's been many years in the past when my husband Jeff and I have gone to bed, like we pregame with a nap, get up around 11:30, watch the ball drop with the kids, and go back to bed. If you know me at all, you know I love to wake up early when I'm in a routine, which is not over the holidays typically. I'm up at 4:10 every morning. I usually do a weights workout, take a nice walk, get ready for the day, have some time to work before I need to get my kids up around 6:30. And I like to be able to get up and hit it in the morning. That's important to me. So we're just wrapping up this whole holiday season. It's New Year's Eve. We had been planning on just staying home, like making a charcuterie board of some kind and, vegging out, watching some movies, hanging with the kids, seeing how late we made it, maybe pre-gaming with a nap. We got a last minute invitation to go over to friends' houses. And the idea was that we were just going to go over and we were going to do an early celebration, celebrate on London time, 7 p.m. our time, watch the ball drop then, go to bed early. But we had a really fun evening with these friends, and they're amazing hosts and a lot of fun to hang out with. And it was us two couples and our kids, and the kids were having a good time. We were having a good time, and we actually didn't leave until close to midnight. And I also had more drinks than I normally have. So also, if you've been with me for a while, I don't drink very much at all. I'm not alcohol free, but my husband and I probably drink somewhere between 0 and 4 drinks a month. That's it. I had more than that New Year's Eve. So for the first time in a very long time, I had a hangover on New Year's morning, which was foreign and a reminder of how very little I like that. I honestly don't really like the way I feel, even if I have 2 drinks normally. I normally sleep. My sleep quality is not as good, and I just don't feel good. It's not as easy to get up and get at it like I like to in the morning. Lethargy, I mean, it's toxic. Putting poison in your body and then trying to get on with the day as normal the next day is not as easy. So when I woke up on New Year's morning, I felt that. And I felt like I was in my 20s again. Like, ugh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then all of a sudden, I noticed I'm in my head. I'm judging myself. Why did I do that? And then the other voice in my head's like, you know what, Teresa, you had a really fun time. You had a great time with your friends. You enjoyed yourself. You didn't do anything stupid or anything else. Everybody was having a good time. And why is it so bad if that happens once a year? But I was really going back and forth. I could hear the angel and the devil on my shoulder just having this conversation. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I'm being really hard on myself about this. And then I just kind of noticed this sadness come over me and started kind of picking that apart. And then I started getting in my head about feeling unclear about my own plan for the year, feeling unconfident about my own plan for the year, and feeling this lack of inner peace about everything coming up. And wow. And I also, due to the hungover state, I don't want to really move, don't really want to open my eyes. I'm not asleep, so I'm just laying there, eyes closed, thinking. And, every now and then I get up and drink water because I'm dehydrated and be like, oh, I don't feel like really getting up yet. Go back to sleep. Laying there with Jeff. He was happy to be in bed too. And we would normally have gotten up and worked out. So I was judging myself for that. And wondering, oh gosh, when are the kids going to wake up? They stayed up late, so I knew they'd probably sleep in. But then I started to judge myself for I'm wasting the time. I've got this great morning. The kids are sleeping in. I could be getting things done. I'm not. And on top of that, I'm in this slump of self-doubt and lack of clarity and not feeling peaceful at all. And then, of course, and I've mentioned this before because as someone who coaches people on all of these things and knows very well how to overcome them, when I get into that state, there's that imposter syndrome that comes in where you question your own abilities because some part of me, for whatever reason, it's so silly, believes that I will not have to feel these things at some point because I will have figured out how to overcome them, even though I know that's absolute bullshit. And I know that the whole range of our feelings are normal to feel, healthy to feel, good to feel. But still, I was feeling this smallness, this contraction versus my usual confident, hell yeah, let's go, we've got this, good things are happening. Good things are always happening. And it makes me feel when I get into that state like I'm not practicing what I preach, and it's very important to me. And yet I realize that when I have a day like I had yesterday, the whole process I went through during the day is practicing what I preach. So one, totally normal to have feelings of sadness from time to time and to allow them. I very quickly, rolled over, cuddled up with my husband, and I was like, I feel really sad, and I'm noticing this inner dialogue where I am completely judging myself for letting go and having fun last night. And I just want to share that. And, he asked me some questions, why I felt sad. I could tell he was trying to interject with some things to make me not feel sad. And I was like, I think I just want to be sad right now. Okay. So, we laid there and just kind of like hugged on each other and cried on his shoulder and just allowed myself to feel sad. And eventually we got up and decided we were going to drag our butts out for a walk. I was like, some fresh air would definitely feel good, pep me up. It always does. And we did that, but I could like feel myself even on the walk. I started to share with him. I'm like, I am being so hard on myself. Like I really just can't even believe the thoughts that I'm allowing to occur between my two ears. So I'm just going to share that with you so that we can change the conversation. Because if I'm talking, then I'm not having this inner dialogue conversation that is full of crap that's not actually true. So it was kind of funny because we were out for this walk and I'm sharing this and I was starting to like tear up and cry again. And I hear this like sound behind us. And it happens a lot when we walk. A lot of times it's like there's a breeze, and it was actually really cold yesterday morning and very windy. And sometimes like a leaf or something will start kind of like tumbling on the ground behind us, and it'll almost sound like footsteps. I'm like, huh. And I'm like, no, it really sounds like footsteps. And I looked, and we were 2 or 3/10 of a mile away from our house, and it's our youngest Jordan running after us in his like shorts and t-shirt jammies and his Crocs trying to catch up, and it's like 30 degrees outside. And I just had to laugh. I guess I didn't give him, we normally like always have a hug and a kiss, and he has this thing, he's like, we always say like all the hearts and packs. I think I talk about it in another episode, but that's like our thing. So we hug, we kiss, give each other all the hearts and packs. And I guess I didn't do that before I left. I thought I had said goodbye adequately, but he chased after me. He's like, I didn't get it. And I was like, oh, it was like so sweet. But it was like, are you freezing? And Jeff takes off his like big sweatshirt and puts his hoodie on him. And it's like a dress, like the hood comes over his head and down over his eyes. The arms are 12 inches too long on every arm, and the sweatshirt's down past his knees. And he wore that. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna walk with you guys. I want some exercise today too. So he joined us for the walk. That definitely helped to lift my spirit, and we all kind of just froze our butts off for a few minutes while we finished walking a mile, and that lifted my spirits a little bit. But I could still feel it going on. I could still feel a lot of times throughout the morning just feeling really disconnected, feeling really sad. And when I started to talk to Jeff about it again, I'm like, it's sad. I started to try to intellectualize the emotions is what I did. We all do this. It doesn't really help with a whole lot of anything, but I'm like, okay, so sadness, is it like, what am I feeling? Am I feeling despair? Am I feeling depressed? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling bored? Like, what am I feeling? There's all of these different things that fall under sadness if we're like looking like scale of consciousness wise, kind of like allowing myself to like be this powerless victim and like go into like shame and apathy and isolation and all of that, and also just kind of feeling kind of indifferent. I said to Jeff, I'm like, sometimes in the life of an entrepreneur, where basically all of our decisions create our outcomes. It's not like a 9-to-5 job where you go and you know that no matter what it is that you're doing, there's the paycheck coming and it's going to be a certain amount. And you can depend on it. When you're an entrepreneur, you can have an amazing month or you can have a crappy month. And a lot of it hinges on how you choose to approach it and what you choose to do and you. And there are definitely times, and yesterday was one of them, where I was like, can I just like win the lottery and be a housewife? Like, I had that happen every now and then. And I know like I would not be satisfied. I love my work. I love, love, love it. I'm great at it. Lives are changing every day. And also, I have these days where I feel like, does it even matter? Like, would anybody care if I wasn't doing this? And that's okay. It's okay. Like, we're all allowed to feel this way. So I start trying to kind of like intellectualize it. I'm like, I said, I feel sad, but I think I'm actually feeling really afraid and uncertain. And the fear is about the uncertainty, which it's like, there's so much uncertainty that we just are never going to be able to make certain in our lives. And that's that. But I said, I think it's just easier for me to feel sad today than it is for me to feel scared and afraid, which is a higher frequency than sadness. and to be able to start moving back into desire, which goes back to the podcast that I shared a week or so ago about the whole dance that we do with fear and desire, because they're these, neighbors essentially on the map of consciousness, which is crazy, that fear, anxiety, being frightened, withdrawing is just a few points below having desire and craving and all that kind of stuff that can lead a step up. Would you believe that above desire is anger? And then we move to pride. Then we cross over to the higher level emotions, the things like courage. So yeah, I've got this scale to go through here to kind of rise back up to where I'm feeling good. And I'm already definitely rising today, or I wouldn't be sharing this. But, I think that's the important thing, is that I woke up this morning and I was like, I have to share this because this needs to be normalized in some way, because even those of us that know, it doesn't help to beat ourselves up. The negative talk between our two ears is some of the most destructive stuff that we allow. And the feelings are not helping with what I want to be able to do. They still happen. And we can't beat ourselves up for being human. We can't. And I'm so grateful that I have the hype squad that is Jeff, my husband. Like, he's absolutely amazing. And especially ever since we went to Mexico together in November and had this whole theme that I talked about on a previous podcast of me not celebrating enough, me not understanding how much I'm always winning and what a winner I am no matter what's going on. He makes sure to remind me of it and not let me not see it on any day. And yesterday was no exception. He lets me see how much I matter, how much I'm capable of receiving, and how much I mean to all the people in my life, whether it's my kids, him, my clients, my family. He's really, really good at helping me to see that, and I'm grateful for that. It's stuff that I can find and locate and understand on my own, but it definitely happens a lot faster with a mirror, and he is a beautiful mirror, and I just feel so grateful to have his love and his support. It's amazing. I feel like it's just this like 1 in a million kind of thing, and I feel very, very lucky. And I know that this experience, the sadness and the isolation and the lack of confidence and clarity that I felt yesterday, mirrors what so many of you go through when you feel stuck. Not because you don't know what to do, but because those deeper unseen patterns are at play. And Jeff was really good at bringing this up to me yesterday and asking me kind of, hey, why do you go back to this place? The last time that he saw me in this place was when it just kind of happened naturally. It was probably my birthday last year in May. And then at the retreat in November, it came up when we were doing work with Dr. Divi, and I could definitely feel it. And it had a place and a presence there, but it was more because we brought it forward, not because it just naturally happened. And so that was in November. So a good month and a half ago is the last time that this cropped up. And, he asked me, he's like, why do you go back to this place? Like, what does this represent to you? And there's a certain comfort, I think, in sadness. And I think there's an inner child connection there. And for me, I have to put together the whole picture. So it wasn't just a lack of clarity about, business or the new year or whatever else. There were a lot of things at play for me. And I mean, I'll just name them. So the kids have been off for 2 weeks. My routine, my schedule has also been different. Jeff was off too. And I loved that, in his previous roles and things at work, he hasn't been able to take time off like that, but we've been off together since like the 20th. And I mean, he worked from home. I worked from home. It's not that we did nothing. It's not that we didn't work. we traveled together. We, hung out with friends together. We did things with family. We celebrated Christmas. We celebrated Hanukkah. We celebrated New Year's. We, had adventures with the kids and snuggled up and watched lots of movies and did home projects and took care of home emergencies. We ended up having a leak right before New Year's Eve that needed to be taken care of. We did life, but being home together for that many days is really unusual. And I mentioned that to him the other day and how grateful I was for it, how nice it was to not feel like work was going to snatch him away like it has in the past, or that I had things I needed to do. I took 2 weeks off of, seeing my clients, and that was refreshing for me. And it was a great recharge and an awesome opportunity to freshen things up for the new year. So really grateful for that. But it was the end of that. So knowing that I needed to shift back into a normal gear today was causing a little bit of tension, anxiety, and then it's the end of my period. So I usually find that I get this frustration and sometimes being more emotional a little bit before my period and a little bit after my period. So this aligned with that, perfect storm for being emotional and teary and everything else. And then ever since I was a kid, normally after my birthday or after Christmas or after any kind of thing where I'm receiving or giving a lot, I feel a little deflated. And I think some of it comes back to in earlier years when I would receive things for holidays during times when I didn't have a lot of money or whatever, and the things that I received weren't exactly what I wanted and felt extravagant and unnecessary. And I would often wish I wish I could turn this huge bouquet of flowers into money to pay a bill, or I wish I could, whatever. And it was this scarcity mindset of not being able to receive what was given and wishing it was something else. And I think sometimes I feel a little deflated after giving a lot or receiving a lot, and then wondering oh, did I give what people wanted? Did they get what they wanted? Are they satisfied? All of that kind of stuff. And I think there's kind of a story to still work out there for myself subconsciously, because I often feel a little down, a little depressed after holidays that bring a lot of enjoyment and positive emotions too. So just recognizing all of those things at play yesterday on top of a freaking hangover, it was just a perfect storm. So awareness really, really helps us to get through these things quicker. If I didn't have the awareness to be able to see and the awareness to have tracked these things before, it's not like I've known forever that I had these grumpy periods before and after my period. It came from tracking emotions and symptoms and things throughout months. And I didn't always know that I had this connection with holidays and feeling a little bit down after things like that happen. It's come from looking at those things and working through those things. And yeah, obviously there's a connection, a depressive connection between drinking alcohol and how you feel. It's a depressant. So that does not surprise me at all either. So I had this perfect storm yesterday, and awareness helped me to work through it. My husband helped me to work through it. I did some EFT tapping. I did some breathing and recentering myself. And I also just allowed myself to take it easy and to feel sad. Probably cried half a dozen times throughout the day yesterday. Just allowed myself to feel it and to be witnessed in that state by Jeff. It wasn't something that my kids had to experience or anything else. He knew I was going through it. He helped me through it, and I shared it with him. So those are exactly the kind of things that come up for us throughout the year in our businesses and when we get stuck. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know that even somebody who is aware, has tools, and has a understanding, a rational, logical understanding, we still have to move these things in our subconscious and in our bodies. And that's what most people don't know how to do. So if that's something that you want to explore further, first of all, join me for the workshop tomorrow. Go to teresalearlevine.org/workshop to sign up. And if it's something that you want to explore further, I would love to offer you a complimentary mini session to look into how subconscious and nervous system work could benefit you. And I'll draw the parallels for you. You share your stuff with me in this mini session, I will be able to tell you this is what would change. This is how you would show up differently. This is what things would look like if you were to do X, Y, and Z. And you leave the mini session with a plan for how to execute on that and to receive those changes in your life and business. And you can sign up for that free mini session by going to gamechangingconversation.com/mini session. And I'll meet with you one-on-one, and we will be able to talk about all the challenges that you're going through, maybe this cycle of emotions that you have, and how to break through it. It's not as challenging as perhaps you felt like it is, and I would love to show you a new, clear path so that you can bounce back quickly too. Yes, half of yesterday for me felt crappy and sad, and also I've learned to be with that sadness. I've learned to transform that sadness, and it came down to less than 8 hours that I was in that place. And so much good came out of it because I was able to process it in the way that I did. So just know this is not something that you have to linger in for days or weeks. And there are new, different answers and things that you've probably never tried before that would make a huge difference in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, and in how you feel and show up on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for listening today. Thank you for hearing my story. I would love to hear if there's anything in there that you relate to. Feel free to drop me a message. Join my school community at skool.com/discovery. You can just type my name in on that page, the school discovery page, Teresa Lear Levine, and you'll see the Becoming More Me community there. I would love to have you join me there. It's a free community full of resources for you. And there's a DM feature there. So you can drop me a message and let me know how you related to this episode, what you took away from it, and maybe even what you could use some help with so that I can cheer you on and root for you on your journey. I know you have so many choices when it comes to the podcasts you listen to. I'm grateful that you chose to listen to this episode of Becoming More Me, and I am wishing you the best 2025 possible. Have a great day. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.